Hello, travel friends. In this episode, we are going to be talking about, reviewing, and rating the 10 most popular attractions in Paris, France. Let's get started.
All right, taking it away with number 1, Museum d'Orsay. This is a bite-sized type museum. It's in an old train station, has like the coolest exhibits. There's some rotating, and also this amazing clock that is just like fabulous. I give it a top rating, as it should be number 1. What are your thoughts?
This is the number 1 rated attraction on TripAdvisor, and for good reason. I love this museum. I think it's very approachable, very manageable. If you're not really into art, maybe even if you don't like art at all, this is the museum to go to. I know that the Louvre gets all the publicity, but this is the one that I recommend to every single person. It's a little bit of everything, and I think even people who are not very into art will find something that they're a bit familiar with, right? So this isn't art that you've like never heard of or don't understand. It's art that you've probably seen in newspapers, magazines, a little bit something about it, even if you're not really into art. So Museum d'Orsay,
Double thumbs.
double thumbs up, all right? Don't miss it. Just add it on your itinerary. Okay, next thing. All right, the next attraction on our list is the Eiffel Tower. What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's the Eiffel Tower. You can't go to Paris and not see it. I think there are a lot of ways to see it, which is great. You can see it from all different angles. You can enjoy a little picnic in front of it. It's just a great all-around park, and it's the Eiffel. So yeah, you just have to see it.
Yeah, it's iconic. Think about we love it now, and it's impressive now. Think about what it was like when they just built it decades ago. It must have been absolutely amazing.
Oh, they hated it though.
Yeah. So if you know a little history of the Eiffel Tower, it was very much hated in the years that it was built. But obviously now we love it. Now it's iconic and it's great. I would give it thumbs up. What do you think about going to the top of the Eiffel Tower? I've never been.
Yeah, so I've been up to the top. I think it's unique. I think it's also something that you can skip. It's very windy up there. Yeah, I would give it like this, unless you really want to see all of Paris from above. Yeah, but there's other places you can go for a great view.
Yeah. There's always been a long queue to get up there whenever I've been to Paris, so it's just not something I've done.
The last thing I would say about the Eiffel, though, is see it at different times during the day. At night, it sparkles, I think on the hour for 5 minutes. It also looks very different middle of the day or sunset. We really like looking at it at sunset. It just kind of, with a painted sky, it's
right.
really
And I
really
think they're
beautiful.
currently repainting it.
They are repainting it for the Olympics coming up, so it is actually gold. Yeah. Which is really cool. They're painting it gold.
Just a tip about the sparkling. So the Eiffel Tower lights up in these sparkles every hour on the hour for 5 minutes. So if you're around there or walking around there, try to time it a little bit so that you're there.
When it sparkles.
When it sparkles.
Otherwise, you'll have to wait an hour.
Because it's pretty fun.
It is cool. it's very cool.
Yeah, it's hard to look at a massive, sparkling structure and not be amused. Okay.
All right. So definite thumbs up.
A thumbs up. Okay.
As Jimmy said, it's iconic. Don't miss it. All right. So third top attraction, the Louvre. We're going to give our honest opinions here. We've both been in the Louvre. Yep.
Okay, I will say a few good things about the Louvre. Definitely one of the largest, most impressive museums in the world, right? In terms of their collection, the depth of their collection. There's a lot.
Yeah, the sheer size.
The sheer size. So that's very impressive. 2 is that actually the price to get into the Louvre is actually very affordable. I think it's under 20 euros or something like that. It's extremely, extremely affordable, and they've worked really hard to keep it affordable for people. So it's very, very accessible. That said, I would not recommend the Louvre for your first time in Paris. I think that for the average person, unless you're just like an art guru or you're just like an art fanatic, it's just too big, too overwhelming. If you're just like on your first trip, like a 7-day or 10-day trip, and you just have like tons and tons of stuff crammed, and you want to fit like the Louvre in there, it's just you're just gonna be exhausted.
I think a good alternative too is if you don't have the time to go in, the outside of the Louvre is so impressive. It really is cool. The pyramids, again, this is something that I would recommend going at different times during the day. At night, the pyramids are lit up. So it's always a good time to go and see it. But again, I think like coming from me, I am not an art aficionado. And when I went, it was overwhelming. You just couldn't absorb a lot of it. And to be honest, we saw the Mona Lisa, which is great, but you're seeing it with like 1,000 of your closest friends and you're really scrunched and you can barely see it. It's very tiny. So I do think, as Jimmy said, you could balance your time elsewhere.
I think we were told that now with the pandemic and everything, there's a line, like to get to the Mona Lisa, you actually have to queue in a very long line, and you only have like a short amount of time to take your picture and go. So,
That's true.
Okay, anyways.
But if you are going to go, there are skip the line tickets. So if you book within a specific block, you can just walk in. Yeah. So if it is something that you're just like, I have to do it, book online in advance. You can walk right in, take your time, but be sure to kind of explore outside.
Yeah, and I think you may want to know exactly what you want to see in the Louvre ahead of time. And then also I think a lot of people should set their expectations that they're not going to see it all. Right? I think if you kind of just like know that, okay, I'm just going to see part of the Louvre, or I'm going to see these few pieces, and I'm going to be very happy and satisfied with that, especially given the really affordable admission price. I think that's probably a better way to approach it instead of like going in there and saying like, I want to see everything. Yeah. Okay, I would say like that, yeah, like that for the Louvre.
Slight thumbs up.
All right.
So the next popular attraction is, again, what Jimmy would call iconic. It's Notre Dame. Notre Dame right now, unfortunately, there was a fire in 2019, so you're not going to be able to go into Notre Dame. However, it's still magnificent to see from outside. There are a lot of different angles that you can visit so that you can see kind of a 360 of it.
And I think they're trying to finish all the restorations by the Olympics.
Yeah, which is 2024.
Right.
Will they get it done? We're not sure. There wasn't a lot of work being done when we were there.
I love the Notre Dame. We've been to Europe several times, and we've been to a lot of churches. Notre Dame is very impressive. I think the first time I went in with just like expectations, given that we've been to so many churches. But it was spectacular, and it's very, very unique, very, very different than a lot of other churches that are out there. It's well deserved its fame. Like
it is beyond a must-see.
Yeah, I am double thumbs up for it. So next on our list is the Palais Garnier, which is the opera house.
I love theater. It was great. We did a self-guided tour. You get to see all of the opera house. I call it very similar to Versailles. It's like this like really amazing gold room that's kind of like the Hall of Mirrors. You get to see the Phantom of the Opera box. There's just so many things, and it doesn't take a ton of time. I think you could easily do it in an hour and a half max. Yeah. But if you really wanted to take your time, you could as well. But I think that it's a very well done self-guided tour, and it didn't feel overly crowded either, which I also thought was nice for one of these top attractions.
So Barb actually was the one who planned this. This wasn't even on my list of things to do in Paris, and it was surprisingly very cool. I love operas. I'm not sure how much I love like opera houses, but yeah, it was just something that we had a free day and we decided to go, and it was very, very cool. The inside was very impressive. I mean, the outside is impressive. The inside was even more impressive. And it was just like, you walk around, casual stroll, and you're like, whoa. Like everywhere you look is like, whoa, this is really cool. They put a lot of everything, a lot of marble, right? A lot of marble, a lot of art. I mean, it's very luxurious.
It's grand.
And yeah, and you can just like imagine yourself in like a tuxedo or something, or a dress, and you're just, strolling and, walking or watching your opera or something. Like it's so, yeah, it was such a pleasant, impressive surprise. Highly recommend. Yeah.
I'm a double thumbs.
I'm a single thumbs, but like right here. Okay.
All right, so next on the popular attraction lists is the Arc de Triomphe. So this is at the end of the Champs-Élysées, and it's this huge arc. It's a big, like, semi-bridge. I don't know how else you describe it. It is massive. I don't think, like, when you see photos, you don't realize how big this is. And we've also seen these arcs in Italy. They're very popular. This one is massive. I think what's really cool about it is there's like 8 lanes of crazy traffic going in a circle around it. I have not been up it. There is the opportunity to go up it. We've never found that desire to go up it, but to walk by it and around it's cool.
We've both seen the Arc on our prior trips to Paris, and I remember we were like walking towards it, and we both like basically said at the same time, like, "Whoa, this thing's huge."
It was when we got that was what made it so. We got off the metro, and we turned the corner, and it was like, bam.
Boom. I mean, it's like it's like you take you see pictures. And you're like, okay, I know it's big. Mm-hmm. And people tell you it's big. And like we're telling you it's big. But like when you go and you get there, you're going to be like, whoa, this thing is big. Like you just can't wrap your head about how like massive this thing is. Mm-hmm. And it's like, why the heck would anyone make such a ridiculously huge arch? And it's just, I don't know why, it's like fun. Obviously, the history about it, Napoleon's like arch and stuff, and like sure the Napoleon isn't part, maybe not that amusing to you, but like how massive this arch is so amusing. It's like you go there, you can just like look at it and you're like, wow, that's big. Look at the cars go around it, and then like go off and do your shopping or anything else you want to do. So it's a very light thing, but it's just a huge arch. I love it. Like,
yeah, it's cool to see. I think what's so unique too about the Arc de Triomphe is it aligns with the Champs-Élysées. And I hope I'm saying that correctly. I'm not good at French. The next popular attraction is the Champs-Élysées.
So basically this is like the most famous like shopping street in Paris, if not like in the world.
Mm-hmm. It is the popular like high street of shopping. So when you're looking at these attractions, there are some, I would say, affordable shops. There's a Sephora on there.
There's actually a McDonald's, a Starbucks.
There's a McDonald's, there's a Starbucks, there's a Swarovski, which is also pretty affordable. Right. But there's also these Louis Vuitton, Saint Laurent, Cartier. All of the big designers have these huge stores. You might not think it's that big. The Louis Vuitton doesn't look that big. It's 4 or 5 levels, all these different areas within it. The other caveat I would say is I think, one, it's not as approachable for the average consumer. Yeah. It is a luxury street. Things are expensive on this street. The other thing is you might have to queue. If you're going during a very popular time to go, i.e. the summer, you're going to queue in line because a lot of these stores, you get a personal shopper when you go in. Yeah. So you're waiting in line unless you have an appointment booked. And then you have a personal shopper walking around showing you the different things that you're looking for.
I think if you are a person that is intended to shop, right? Like you want to buy a luxury good in Paris from one of these stores, you should go to the Champs-Élysées. It's like an experience, right? Like buying your purse or your whatever it is there on a shop on that boulevard. Mm-hmm. The experience is, I think, much different than if you went to the same shop, bought the same thing at like like any of the other stores or
like a
malls.
Gallery Lafayette.
Right. So I think if you're intended to shop, then the experience
Yeah.
is worth going to there. But I think that if you're a person that is not intending to buy something of this price or magnitude, it's a very skippable thing. I think it's not one of those like you go see the Eiffel and you're like, even if you don't want to go up the Eiffel Tower, you can still like see the Eiffel and like walk around and like get the vibe of it. Champs-Élysées, there's really, I don't know if there's a vibe to get or a vibe that's worth doing.
Just a lot of shopping bags.
Yeah, so I think it's very skippable if you're not like close by anyway, and if you're not intending to buy anything.
So I think we're both kind of like.
I think I'm kind of like I'm probably like either this or like this.
He's straight down.
Yeah,
I'm a sideways. So
okay.
Skippable if you want.
So next attraction on our list is the Sacré-Cœur, which is I think
it is a cathedral, but it's not Catholic. It's a grand church.
What do you think? What do you feel about this? It's free. It's free to go in, which I think is a plus.
Yeah, I went in with very low expectations. The inside I did find was pretty unique. I mean, this is a very grand church for it not being a cathedral. I believe it was built for like unification. It's this gorgeous like white massive church that just has so many different kind of architectural aspects that you wouldn't normally think of, and it's also on this big mountain, or I wouldn't say mountain, but large hill. There's these grand steps that go down and you get an amazing view of Paris. How do you feel, Jimmy?
Honestly, like I can't say I'm the biggest fan of this church. I think architecturally I feel like it's a little bit messy. It doesn't really like speak to me. And again, I think the two good points is like one, it's free to go in, and then two is that the view from outside you can see a lot of Paris. It's like on a hill, it's like one of the highest points I feel. So you see a lot of Paris, so the view is not to be missed. But I'm just okay with it. I wish I liked it more, but it's very skippable for me personally. So what's your rating? What are you at?
I think if you're in the area, you should see it.
So would I see this church over the Champs-Élysées? I'm probably about the same.
Okay, you're doing a lot of sideways. You gotta be up or down.
Down sideways.
This
okay,
I would
so
do this over the Champs-Élysées.
Okay, I would just go down for both of them then. All right.
Okay. All right, so our next attraction is something that you can see if you do go to Sacré-Cœur. And this is also in Montmartre. It is the Artist Square.
Just Google Artist Square, and this is a place where local artists gather and they can sell their art, or you can have your picture drawn.
I was very surprised. This was something that Jimmy had raved about a lot. He's gotten a couple pieces of art from there.
If it's good weather, sunny day, weekend, that's kind of when most of the artists will show up, or a lot of the artists will show up. If it's like really cold, if it's raining, like if it's late in the day, weekday, then you may have a less of a selection. I would not recommend sort of like eating in the areas or
Correct.
the restaurants that's like just like surrounding the square, because the prices might be a little higher and the quality might be a little lower. But that aside, I think the square is amusing, especially if you're looking to buy an art piece, a local art piece. We're not talking about we're not talking about like crazy rich art pieces. We're talking about very like affordable souvenirs. And I really enjoy collecting like really affordable art souvenirs to hang. And I really like it. There's usually a very good variety of art styles for you to choose from. So I think that everyone will find something that kind of like speaks to them. And also if you want to get your portrait drawn, I really highly recommend this place, because there are so many artists that can paint you in a variety of styles.
Yeah.
Right? It's like if you want like cartoony, there's some people that will do that. If you want like serious,
there's like some sketching.
Right.
I mean,
like charcoal.
You can just watch. It's
watercolor.
fascinating.
Right. So I think it's actually, if you have like a family, if you have kids, I think it would just be like super amusing and they can, they can go around and they can like select the style that they want. I think it's a really cool thing.
As long as your kid can sit still for a little bit.
It's just around the corner from the Sacre-Cœur. So it's definitely like, if you're there anyway, definitely check those two out together. And I think together, I would say they're a thumbs up.
All right, last but not least on the popular attraction list is going to be Versailles.
I would say, like, unless you just can't fit it in for some other reason, this is an essential part of a Parisian trip. It captures the French aristocracy, right? It captures like the height of the French power, right? The power of the French king, the ornateness, the ridiculous abundance of like wealth and power and like reckless use of resources, right?
And also why there was a revolution.
Right. So like you go there and you're like, okay, now I know why there was a French Revolution, right? Like it's obscene, both inside, outside. Like now it's great because it's, open to the public, so everyone enjoys the gardens. Everyone can like go in and see the rooms and the ornateness. It's absolutely amazing. It's hard to compare Versailles to
anything else.
Anything else.
I found it remarkable. It was definitely something that I really wanted to do this trip. We did the gardens first, and the gardens are just the vastness. You can also see the Queen's Hamlet. So this was kind of like a life-size dollhouse farm for Marie Antoinette. It's just a lot to see, and that's just the gardens. I think another cool thing is we always plug Rick Steves. Rick Steves has great audio tours, so we were listening to that audio tour while walking around the gardens. And we did go in the winter, so a lot of the statues were kind of covered. The fountains weren't going, and it was still gorgeous. And then inside the palace, it's a must-do.
Yeah, and Barbara, I think Barbara, you went there with high expectations, right? This was one of like the must-dos on your list when we went, and you were very impressed, right? Like you thought it was.
Oh, I thought you said weren't. I was like, I was. This was more than I imagined.
Yeah.
I like the Hall of Mirrors. I think another thing was I didn't Google anything before, so I was able to be a little surprised, but. The Hall of Mirrors itself was just...
Yeah, it is. Right. It's just like it's very, very impressive. Or very ornate. It's just like mind-blowing ridiculousness.
Yeah. So...
yeah.
I think overall, I mean, that is, again, definite thumbs up. You cannot miss it.
You cannot miss this. Yeah. Like, it is... Yeah.
All right, well, those are our reviews of the top 10 attractions of Paris. Let us know what you think, if we missed anything, and definitely don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, hope this was helpful to you guys, and until next time.
Happy travels!